studio. Thank you again, every single person who is watching right now. You guys are fantastic. A whole lot of you over on RTTV. We really, really do love all the support and all the amazing comments you guys are leaving us right now. It is great. So, Katie, who do we have with us right now?
We have our lovely Megan from Dell Children's Hospital. She's from the foundation. Okay. Megan, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. My name is Megan Camposano. I am the Children's Miracle Network Program Director for Dell Children's Foundation, so that means I get to manage a lot of our community partnerships, and I'm the fortunate person who gets to do all the extra life madness with you guys. So
throw air quotes around fortunate.
Yeah. I have the best job, I think.
Well, we started Extra Life before you moved to Austin to take over for Kip, who was our other previous contact at Dell Children's Hospitals. What was it like to come in and see what it was that we do and how we operate?
Yeah, so I can't say that I got much of a briefing, but I can say I kind of had to jump in. I remember the first time that I ever met you guys, you were coming to the hospital to film a video, and we were getting checked in at the front desk, standing in the front lobby waiting for your camera crew to get there, and this guy was like hovering around, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? And he finally just gets up his courage and walks up to Jack and asks if he can take a picture. Like, can I take a picture? Can I have an autograph? And I was like, who are these people? Like, what's happening? So that was my first realization of like, oh my goodness. And then of course, you know, after that, it just went from there. It was crazy. That was 2016. So I think we were at we did about 900,000 that year, and the year after is when we went to 1 million, and the year after is when we opened the mental health unit. So just a journey and an amazing one.
What's it like talking to executives about us? That's like one thing that
that's my favorite one.
So fascinated about.
It's interesting. I get a lot of questions. So when we were doing the naming of the mental health healing garden, I had to sit down with Deb Brown, our Chief Operations Officer, and she said, of course, she knew what the meeting was going to be about, but she didn't know what Rooster Teeth was, and she told me that she had a whole conversation with her teenage son to get ready for our meeting, so that he could tell her what Rooster Teeth was. And of course, she was, so excited to have you guys on board. And then we've had the adventures of having partners like Niall Maxwell come and get involved with you guys after I gave him his briefing of our partnership. I think he Googled Rooster Teeth and ended up watching an episode of Red versus Blue. I was a little shell-shocked after that. So it's always interesting, yeah.
It's always fun when, like, because you'll invite us out to, like, a ribbon cutting ceremony or an opening or something like that, and we'll get there, and there will be all of, like, the other, like, people who have raised, whatever, they're like in nice suits, and all this stuff. I'm like, so what is it you do for this? And it's like, It's always like,
well,
how do I put it? It's like terrible things in the name of good.
Yeah, I will say one cool thing. So we've been doing this here campaign for the past 3 years with you guys, where literally 2 years ago, the three of us went out to a lot where it was like just an empty dirt field. It was like, all right, someday there will be a building here. And now, as of March or April of your contributions right now are going towards our donation towards that facility. And Katie and I got to go to the grand opening. We were actually fortunate enough to go to the grand opening. It was very, very awesome to be there. And it's kind of the one time we could go in and actually see some of the stuff, because once patients in there, we can never go in there. So, which is totally understandable. But as we were doing this tour, we got this tour of the facility, and it was me and Katie and then the team from Whataburger, which is like a really awesome burger chain here in Texas, like really huge, been around forever. And as we were walking around, Chris, who runs all of Dell Children's, he stopped us and was like, oh, Jack and Katie, hey, Rooster Teeth, love you guys. And meanwhile, the Whataburger people were just like, okay, whatever. So
many fancy suits might be walking around. You guys are probably the people raising the most in the room, so,
That's pretty awesome.
I mean, that's our community.
Yeah,
so.
that's all our community.
Absolutely, the community.
Yeah, so we talked about the mental health unit, and the garden is probably one of the proudest things that I know I've ever gotten to contribute to. What is it like now? How is it affecting the patients, or how is it impacting the patients?
Sure. So we were able to open the mental health unit together, like I said, in May of 2018. And since then, I have to say, it pretty much stays at capacity. The mental health unit is almost always full. Whether that's a happy thing or not to hear, it's an important thing, right? And it's important that we have it in our community. And just to know that that didn't exist before, that didn't exist here in Central Texas, that dedicated pediatric pediatric care, that continuum of inpatient to outpatient all under one roof. That's something we created together. That unit was fully funded by philanthropy and just didn't exist before we all decided to make it happen. And now, because of what we built, you know, people want to, these world-class mental health physicians want to move to Austin, and they want to be at Dell Children's because of what we created. And I just can't tell you how incredibly special it is that you guys are a part of that.
I will say, and this is a pretty personal thing, but in June I spent some time at the Shoal Creek facility, which is the adult mental health unit, the inpatient mental health unit, and I saw it. I got to see it firsthand and live in it firsthand and know that being able to open a dedicated children's mental health unit, what an amazing, incredible, and important thing that was, because it's just not, it's 5 floors of just adults and different levels of mental health needs, and to know that the kids don't have to be in this really, it's a beautiful, like, wonderful facility, but it's not a kids facility.
That's
and I've
right.
seen the mental health unit, the Dell Children's mental health unit, and how it's decorated and how
It's amazing.
it's so special. And to know that we've contributed to that, and to see firsthand the difference between an adult facility and a children's facility, it made it feel even more special that we got to contribute to that.
Describing, you know, the kids used to have to go to Shoal Creek before. And, you know, like you said, not that there's anything wrong for Shoal Creek, but it's for adults. That they're not afraid to come to, that they can feel.
One of my favorite stories is Jack got to do a tour of the mental health unit just before COVID, and one of the things that he told me that it makes me like well up even right now as I'm saying it, is that he got to go visit the garden. It was the last time that any of us saw the garden, and he went there, and there were kids, teenagers, just lying on the ground in the sun, just sunbathing.
That's so
And the
special.
image of that to me is so overwhelming, just that it's this safe place that they got to go.
That's exactly
be
right.
at.
And probably the most special part of it is that healing garden, that they have their own private outdoor space where they can lay down and have a sun bath, where they can play basketball in a dedicated basketball hoop, and, you know, they can grow flowers and vegetables in their own garden. I mean, it's just a really, really beautiful thing, and we'll never be able to thank you guys enough.
And I hear when it's not in use by the patients, staff will go and have lunch there
Or
and hang out.
that's right. Or maybe the staff likes to use it as a little lunch area, or maybe shoot hoops sometimes.
Yeah, and so like the mental health unit and everything was just absolutely amazing. But then after we completed our pledge and that was created, you know, then we were talking with Megan, we're like, hey, what are next steps? And that's what we've been doing for the past 2 years. This is the 3rd year of our 3-year pledge for the HERE campaign, which if you didn't watch the very, very intro, it's really important. Basically, you guys took a look at the 3 areas where you were outsourcing the most patients, right?
That's
Which
right.
is crazy disruptive to families. Like, I have kids, and I can't even imagine that's like, oh, like, if my kid has something that has to be treated, and usually if it's that serious, it's going to be a little while, and it might mean that they get shipped off to Houston, and then that means, like, my job is put on pause. I have to go rent an apartment or, you know, a hotel long term. And, like, just imagine that, having to, like, completely relocate your family also while dealing with just a titanic thing. And so.
Or imagine if you don't have the resources to
Right.
leave town and get a hotel.
That was a perfect time for a love donation.
Oh, thank you, love donation. You know, think about the equity that we're creating for people. You know, there's a lot of people that do have the resources to say, okay, we're going to figure this out. We're going to get an apartment next to a hospital who has what we need, or stay in a hotel, or stay with family, or whatever the case is. Thank you.
All right, Megan, spin the wheel. You're up. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't sign up for that. But just, you know, think about the kind of the equity that we're creating. That's what Dell Children's is all about, right? Being able to treat every single child that comes through our doors, no matter what their financial status is. And when you look at the leadership of our hospital taking the initiative to say, where are those areas where we have to fill the gaps and make sure they don't have to leave, and that we have what they need here in Austin.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and that's what everyone's donations have been contributing to over the past 2 years and this year. The facility is now up. Like Jack said, We started it a lot. Now it exists.
Yeah.
You know, after this year, hopefully we'll have the naming rights to a Child Life Center. What's the specific name of it?
Well, so right now it's just the activity center.
That's what it is, okay.
You guys heard from one of our Child Life specialists that you met with outside the building that it's in the infusion room space. So this infusion room area is much, much improved from the last clinic. It's huge. It's got a lot more privacy, and the activity center is kind of right there. This is the place where kids have to spend the most time, right? They're there for hours and hours and hours. And just like you heard from Katie, now because of this space, it gives them the opportunity to be kids while they're there and choose what they want to do to fill their time and have a little bit of fun and be able to be a kid while they're in the hospital.
Yep.
Speaking of gaming, why do you think ExtraLife is so successful?
Gosh, ExtraLife is such a special thing, isn't it? It's special, and it works because I think it's providing a platform for people to do what they're already doing and they already love and use it for good. So it's really easy and kind of a no-brainer in that way. But also, just it's about the community. It's about the community coming together and the collective power of what we can accomplish together. If you can give $1, if you can give $100, if you can give $1,337, you know, it doesn't matter how much or how little, it doesn't matter, and it all adds up. And you know, we wouldn't be able to accomplish these huge numbers year after year or do these huge important things together if it wasn't for the people donating what they can. It's all about everybody coming together in this community to make it happen. That's what ExtraLife is all about.
And we're very fortunate to work with you guys. You guys are so amazing and easy to work with, and constantly 90% of the conversations with Megan are like, "What do you need?"
Like, what can I provide you? Yeah, Dell Children's has fed us the last few years for ExtraLife.
Everybody fed. That's my number one goal.
But we always say that, you know, Dell Children's Hospital is a stone's throw from Rooster Teeth. We can literally step out of this building and see Dell Children's. I mean, it's that close. So it's like having this literally in our backyard. It's worked out so well, and partnering up with you guys for over a decade now has been incredible. And
it's remarkable.
And I can't wait to see what we come up with in the future and see how we can work together. And
we can't either. We can't thank you guys enough. And I have to say, it's probably the highlight of my role in Dell Children's Foundation, being able to work with you guys and do the things that we do.
Do you work with other people who work at other Children's Miracle Network hospitals? Did they come to you and be like, how can we get our own Rooster Teeth?
Yes.
Like, I'm curious what that's like. Like when you roll into like the conferences, you're like, what's up? I got Rooster Teeth on my tail.
Yes, I do get a lot of phone calls, especially from new program directors that are just starting out in their markets and their hospitals, asking, oh, well, you know, let's talk about ExtraLife. And I'm like, well, I have a little bit of a different situation than you're probably ever going to have where you are. But I do have to give a shout out to just the entire ExtraLife community in Austin, Texas, because while we have this juggernaut of Rooster Teeth and everything that you guys are able to do through your amazing community, you know, there are folks out there with teams raising $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. There are individuals out there gaming for ExtraLife every year, raising, you know, $1,000 all by themselves. We have incredible gaming community here in Austin that makes it happen every year. And like I said, it's all about everybody coming together to do the thing. So thanks to everybody.
And absolutely. It's so great, too, because I hear a lot of people in the Rooster Teeth community who have started their own Rooster Teeth teams in other parts of the country, raising money for their local Children's Miracle Network hospital. And that to me is the most important thing, because we're spreading out the love across the planet. Like, we're very fortunate here in Austin. We got an awesome hospital working directly with you guys, but we also have other teammates, or like other people in the community who are like, I want to raise money for my hospital. And we went to a conference in Florida, and I literally met a woman who worked, I think she was at the Rhode Island Children's Miracle Network Hospital, and she's like, oh, it'd be great if we had something like that. And I got on her messenger, and I was like, who do we have in Rhode Island? And I literally got her in touch with that person.
Incredible.
It was like, we have so many people in the Rooster Teeth community all over the place that we can make this happen, and we can slowly turn, hashtag RTExtraLife into a U.S. phenomenon. So
that's right.
Thank you again. Yeah,
thank you. It's remarkable what you guys do across, all of your platforms and your entire community, and it's just, we're honored to be able to work alongside you.
Excellent.
I think the feeling is mutual. So
for sure.
And thank you for coming out, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And for feeding us.
Of course. There's more food coming later.
Sweet. Excellent. All right. Well, I think, Chad, what do we got coming up next?
Coming up next is STF, and they are putting on Mario Game.
Mario Game. And are we taking a break, or are we getting right into it? Are they ready to go?
We're going right into it.
All right.
That's what we like to hear.
Megan, thank you
Good
very
luck,
much.
everybody. Thanks, guys.